Well, our next guests have some experience in what successful makeover of church life looks like. Sheridan Sanders is the host of Church Alive, a Catholic presentation looking at where the great spark plugs are in Catholic life in Canada and beyond. Bruxy Cavey is a pastor with the Meeting House community of churches. They've got 8,000 people meeting in 13 different locations. Welcome, both of you, to Context.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Bruxy, let's start with you because you've got the slogan, "This is church for people who aren't into church." Why was that necessary?
Well, as you know from this show, there's a large demographic of people who say, I'm not into church or I'm not into religion, but I have not yet become prepared to jettison the idea of God. I am open to spirituality. I need a safe place to come and ask questions. I have a lot of questions, and their experience with church has been that's the place to be quiet and learn, but questions seem to be the threat. So we want to create a safe place for people to come and ask questions.
Okay, Sheridan, you have got this new beat. I'm so excited to introduce Church Alive. It's a program at Salt and Light, one of our partner broadcasters, and we've been able to share set and all of that. Your job is to look for the flashpoints of energy and life in the Catholic Church. What are you finding they have that's sparking?
They're absolutely founded on Jesus Christ. So they are focused on Jesus, and they know how to engage the community. They are connected, they're engaged, and they're committed to each other. So those are the communities that are alive.
The big part of I've always appreciated about the Catholic tradition is your liturgy is you're not meant to have a star in the pulpit or something really flashy up front in a worship band, which is part of my evangelical new traditions. Why is that liturgy so experiential to you?
The Catholic tradition is very well-rounded in terms of the way that the liturgy is set up. The liturgy belongs to the people, belongs to everybody. So yes, there is no focus on the priest or any one person because we come together, we share Christ's meal. And that is how we participate in communion and we receive grace through the sacraments. It engages the whole person. It engages the person through sight and smell and through listening to the Word of God, to learning about it, and then through reenacting the Eucharist. So it's a full experience.
Okay, Bruxy, you heard those reasons just in our previous segment on why young people have left en masse. Like if 3 were raised in the Christian church, there's only 1 left. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal dropout rates. What do you say about those toxins that they hit so hard?
Well, they're real toxins, and what's interesting when we draw the parallels with what the historical Jesus taught, we find out that he addressed the same toxins. He identified them, and he challenged them within the religious system of his day. And the Christian system of our day may have adopted some of the toxins that Jesus stands opposed to. But I think what Sheridan was saying, when the church focuses on Jesus, gets back to Jesus, aligns our message with Jesus, and not just our message, but our heart, our attitude, when not just what we say, but how we say it and how we live our life gets more in line with Jesus. We're addressing the same toxins in the religious system that he did, and it can be a self-purifying process for the church, and the church needs to go through that every generation, or the church itself starts to get off track.
Sheridan, what are you hearing about young people saying, but it's just too, it's my mother's thing, it's not mine?
I think that when people encounter Christ, he's the everlasting man, so he is always other from culture in every context. And so when they have an authentic encounter with Christ, they will recognize him and their hearts will speak to each other. What happens is you have to find a way to recreate those opportunities for that genuine encounter with Christ. And when that happens, we're all on track. But if you try to change the message, then that's where things fall apart ultimately.
The other issue was busyness. The explosion of information is one reason why people have dropped off of church, and the explosion of activities. And then, of course, for the young people factor, it's all the transitions their life is in, all the pressures they're facing. Bruxy, what do you say to the person who says, I'm too busy, I'm fed up, I don't have time for this church thing?
I understand there's busyness and there is pseudo-opportunities for the things that faith would normally provide, that is relational connection. Through Facebook, we feel like we have all the friends we need. Through Google, we feel like I can know anything that I want to know. I'm omniscient, you know, and through the internet, I can travel anywhere in the world. Through GPS, I'm never lost. I just know where I am. There's a synthesized sense of connection with the cosmos, knowing everything. Nothing is a mystery. But I think that's synthetic. We don't necessarily have all the friends that Facebook says we have. We don't necessarily know everything that Wikipedia says we know.
The church is going to give them to us?
And what the church does, I think, is gives us an opportunity to focus on what at least we believe is most important. The person who teaches us how to love. The person who said, my greatest commandment to you is this, love each other as I've loved you. And then he's God's show and tell. He demonstrates what that love is like, and he calls us into these love communities where we are not just hearing his teaching, but we're then immediately to apply it in our relationships with others. Communities trying to live their lives out like Jesus, I think, is something that is compelling to people when they see it lived out.
Okay, Sheridan, why did you go back to Catholic Church? Why do you still engage it? What does it do for you?
For me, it happened as an intellectual conversion. I mean, life is a faith journey is a long conversion process, right? So you're constantly orienting yourselves or reorienting yourself towards God. Mine happened, I fell in love with the scriptures. I was at school, I took a couple of theology courses, and I saw him again, and I fell in love. And I was just so enamored with the rich intellectual tradition of the church and the history and the art, and so that's...
I had an experience.
Yes.
You had an experience.
Exactly.
Fascinating. All right, well, thank you both very much. You're great, both of you, poster candidates for why re-engage Canada's great traditions. Protestant, Catholic, thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you.
Okay, we're much more to consider right after this. Well, our closing thought today asks why the tradition of a weekly worship service even exists in Christianity. It's a pattern we copy from Jesus. Since God is a communicator with the human race, Jesus joined established patterns of weekly God time in synagogue. Jesus showed us the human identity is nurtured and affirmed when it communicates with God and with other people. And community life is part of worship. Protecting that, being thankful for that, and educating ourselves in what it means to be in communication with God is what happens in weekly church attendance and worship. That's what the church is there for. You know, if you need a church locator in your neighborhood, how to find a good church, I've left a link for this on my blog and on our website, Our Favorite Church Finder. For all of us at Context, I'm Lorna Dueck. Thanks for watching. Join us as we explore life beyond the headlines next time.